Hi, it's Alison here. I've had a request from a viewer, Mike. Mike has asked if it would be possible if I could make a video on how to make a very simple bracelet with house wire, and he asked please if I could bear the following in mind. He has never made a bracelet or worked with copper. He only has basic tools. He has side cutters, a pair of pliers, huge, a utility knife, and he has a nail file. He can't solder. He does not have a vise or an anvil. So, yes, Mike, it is possible, and I have just the bracelet in mind for you and for many others that wish to make a lovely little bracelet and find themselves in the same position. The first thing we're going to do is strip this copper. So, there are many little gadgets and that you can make to strip copper wire. The only thing is, it's usually for the scrap market and not for jewelry. So, when you are stripping something like this now, you've got to be so careful not to cut into that wire because it is going to show on your workpiece. I sometimes get a blade. There's various methods. If I'm doing bulk, I'll use my little gadget that I've made. In this case, we are not going to be doing this. Mike has only got this one piece of copper wire. So just for this little piece, what you can do is you can take your pliers, a utility knife, and you can basically balance it on the pair of pliers and get to the angle that you want, and you can start stripping like that. And just pull your wire with that action. Okay, do it slowly, don't go fast. You've only got a small piece to strip, rather do it properly. There are other methods. You can use a pair of pliers and you basically cut into sections. You cut through the insulation and you twist it a little bit. You make sure you don't cut right through to the wire, but it still leaves an indentation on your wire. I don't like doing that. Some use side cutters as well. Slightly cut through your insulation and then you leave it open slightly and you pull it off. It also scars the wire. There's one little tool that's got a blunt side. It's a vegetable peeler. It's one with a blunt side and a sharp side. That also works quite nicely. You can actually peel that copper wire like a potato or something. Anyway, so go through whichever method you're going to use. There's another method, by the way. What I do is you find the grouting line in tiles. If you get a loose utility blade and you balance, put your wire in, say that's the groove, put your wire in that groove and make sure that it's fitting in that groove nicely. It can't be a shallow groove, and put a pair of gloves on or something to protect your fingers and balance that on the top and guide it. And the same story is balancing it on your pliers. Balance that and pull, get that action and pull that through. Okay, but I'm not going to bore you with this now. Let me quickly strip this wire and we can get on with our bracelet. And make sure your wire is nice and straight. Okay, so this is what we're going for. We need one long piece of wire for the actual wrapping. Okay, and then the rest just compact, just as it is. And just measure your cuff and cut it off about a little bit longer. Okay. Okay, and then take out of this. Sure it's nice and straight. That we don't need anymore. When we wrap, I do need it. When we wrap, we want this piece that is going from the one wrap to the next, we want it on top, okay? So whenever you start wrapping, you're going to put your finger on that section. So you know your wrap is going to be over the same sort of placing every single time. So sometimes it shifts. You got to be careful of that. You can start with one in the middle. Okay, just straighten your piece of copper a little bit as much as you can without disturbing that twist. All right, and just go through with a Koki pen. This rubs out, so I've got to be careful. Get your half mark, and then you can space them however you would like them. That's usually quite a comfy sort of a spacing. Just make a little mark there. We made it a bit longer. We're going to nip some off, as long as you've got some sort of idea where you're going to do your wrap. Ten wraps. Now you'll notice that the wire is twisting this way. So this wire you want to twist in the opposite direction. Show you on, yeah? So the cord, we call it the cord, the strands of wire are running that way. We want to go in the opposite direction now, okay? We're going to start in the middle, get the approximate middle of this piece of wire. And you're just going to get your first wrap going, nice and tight. Go around twice. And then you're going to go onto your next, pull that nice and firmly straight. Put your thumb on it, just where your next wrap is going to be. So you're going to end up measuring with your thumb actually. So I know my Koki pen's going to rub out, and then you start your next wrap. 1, 2, come up, and the third one you're going to go over. Hold that where you hold it into position where you want it with your thumb, and wrap. 1, whoopsie, 2, up again and over. Our last one, as I said, we made it a little bit longer, so I'm going to give it exactly the same distance. I'm going to wrap it 4 times. We're going to finish our cuff off like that. So hold it, same again, get it over there, put your thumb there, and just wrap it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Leave it like that. You get on to the next side. Exactly the same thing. Get into the position where you can see those. You'll see they only run, because we want that on the top, they don't run on the rest of the bracelet. So you want to be able to visibly see them. Okay, so we're going to start like that. Bring your wire over and down to that angle and wrap. and just finish off with 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nip your, there's your top. Nip that off first and then swing it down to the bottom where you can finish this piece of wire off. Nip it off as close as you can without cutting your lead wire. Hey, these are blunt. Mike, I hope your side cutters aren't as blunt as mine. We're going to file that off. So there's our top. Go right to the bottom. Nip that off. And push that in. Next one is our top. Okay, now we grab this little nail file and we file that nice and smooth. Once we've bent our bracelet, we're going to have to file this again because there will be a shift, a movement in these little wires that form the strand. Try and nip a bit more off with these terrible side cutters, no? Having that on the top, just take your fingers like that and kink it until you've got your arc with that on the top like that. Then you can flip it over and shape the rest of your bracelet. Right, onto the pliers. Don't grab this and squish it. Just balance it in there so you've got something to lever that bend with. Just don't squish it, please. I did make one that is a little bit more rustic. I put it on the stove top and I waited until it went through all the colors of the rainbow and it dulled to a silver. I then got in with my polishing pad and just polished the bits that I could. So that is the comparison there. Just be careful if you do the more rustic one and you do put it on the stove top or anneal it, it is going to become soft. Not too soft, mind you. Not on the 6mm. It still holds its form quite nicely. And finally, what you want to do, depending obviously which variation you're going for, the rustic one, obviously you're not going to do this, but if you want this one nice and shiny and clean, polished, pop that into salt and vinegar. It's probably about a tablespoon of salt to a cup of vinegar. It's a little bit blue now because I've been using it for a bit. And that should do. And then just get it out there. And you're going to neutralize that acid with a bit of dishwashing liquid. And just a scourer. You just buff that. A bit of water. Can you believe a little piece of copper like that can make so much residue? So when this is dried nicely, I would suggest finally giving it a little buff with the polishing pad. It must be nice and dry. This is not going to dry in time. But what I'll do is I'll shine this up and finally give it a squirt of silicone spray. The silicone spray is just going to repel any dust and dirt and that type of thing and give it a little bit of sheen. It will oxidize. That silicone spray is not going to keep it shiny for long. So if you just want to keep this clean every now and again, dishwashing liquid is good. If it really gets tarnished, put it in the vinegar and salt mixture again, and then neutralize that with the dishwashing liquid again. So there we are, two variations. There are many variations. Very simple to make. And Mike, I hope you enjoy making this. Let me know, and I hope anybody else there that is going to be making it enjoys it and finds some value.